Welcome back to Straight Facts on Tuesday. I had to revisit those brilliant videos from the summer after the big news today that Martin Zubimendi has agreed personal terms with Arsenal and they are set to sign the Spanish midfield player this forthcoming summer. We're going to delve into that and more transfer needs for Arsenal. We're going to be previewing the Premier League games ahead this midweek. Some people have actually forgot there's Premier League football starting today. I'm joined by the boys. We've got LB in the house. We've got Dan Potts as well. How are you both, gentlemen?
Yeah, man, I've got to say, big up to that intro, man. I just forgot how much of a head loss moment that was from Hassan, man. I love Hassan, but wow, that is iconic, mate. That one from Hassan. Big up to him, man.
Yeah, no, that was class, man. That was class. Listen, if they would have got him, then you would never have seen Gravenberch doing what he's doing. So probably the best move. But yeah, man, all good here. Big up the chat. Big up you two as always. And yeah, man, let's rattle some Liverpool fans, isn't it? You know what I mean? Rejected for Arsenal, I believe, is the story here.
Well, I mean, I don't even think it's banter. I mean, he agreed to join them and then changed his mind. He spoke about, I mean, Sam's laughing, but he spoke about the mountains and the culture and the lifestyle. And look, let's be fair. You know, City were heavily linked to him 4 or 5 weeks ago. Real Madrid want him. Liverpool are still interested too. I mean, those stories, we've all read them. And Arsenal have gone and got the deal done. And look, there's some things to talk about Arsenal later where there is certainly some criticism. But Potsy, you must be buzzing with the fact that this man has essentially turned down, on paper, bigger football clubs, certainly teams that are doing better than you this year, to come and join the Arsenal in the summer.
Yeah, it's a shock. I can't lie. Not for those reasons only, but just because I didn't see this one coming at all. And it seems strange that we'd be linked with him now that it's a summer move. I think it's quite clever from the club as well. It's not a very good period of time at the moment at Arsenal, let me tell you that. All of a sudden, this comes out and then it's supposed to then be the cheery news that we all perhaps need. Look, let's take aside from what might be happening PR-wise and let's look at the reality of this. I think it's a really good signing. You know, me and LB were speaking offline before we went live, talking about what the sort of player he is. I can't sit there and lie to you. I haven't looked at Zubimendi for a long time because he's never been linked with Arsenal. He's been loosely linked with us, and then it was Liverpool and even Manchester City that I think were looking at him ahead of Arsenal. So I didn't quite look and delve into it as much. What I will say, as bizarre as looks like phase 5 for Arsenal is sign the Real Sociedad trio in midfield, right? Odegaard was there a few years ago on loan. We've got Marino now. We've got Zubimendi. Look, I like the signing if it happens. I think it's good money. 50 odd million is really good for a midfielder of that quality. He's a Spanish international. It's a player that a lot of clubs are looking at. My only one query and question mark here is that I know sounds very negative, but I would have concerns about it is what are we doing with Declan Rice then? And I don't mean now he leaves. What I mean by that is where's his position? Because I don't like him in the attacking 8 or in the box to box there. I like him as the destroyer in the 6. And that's exactly what Zubimendi is. So whether we're going to go with a double pivot now when we finally do get Zubimendi through the door, if this happens in the summer alongside Rice, or if Rice is going to be that kind of 8 and we go with a midfield trio of Zubimendi, Rice, and Odegaard, which sounds great on paper, but the actual job that Rice is asked to do, I'm not too sure we utilise his attributes in the best way, and I think West Ham fans would probably agree with that. But look, it's a great signing. I would probably imagine that Jorginho and Partey would leave the club in the summer now. Their contracts are up. So we might actually need another midfielder in the summer as well. But that's certainly something that I look at and think, you know what? That's actually a really good signing for Arsenal. And it does definitely look good that Manchester City and Liverpool have been sniffing around this guy and he's decided to come to Arsenal. Now, as much as we can look at Mikel Arteta and some of the people that have been dealing with transfers, you can actually say now, with no Edu, Arteta has a massive, massive part to play in transfers because we don't actually have a sporting director and we have apparently agreed fee or signing with Zubimendi. So, you know, that takes away the rumours of how pivotal Edu was. Well, he couldn't have been that pivotal if we can still make signings like that without him. So that's what I would like to add. And just lastly as well, look, I think that it is a situation that if you look at Mikel Arteta at the moment and have your doubts like I do at times, you can't say that he hasn't had a huge part to do with Zubimendi. From what we understand from Ornstein and co, who know much more than I do, Arteta was a huge factor into what made Zubimendi persuaded to go and choose Arsenal. So I suppose you have to look at Arteta and say all credit to him because it's a good signing if we pull it off in the summer, man.
Yeah, I think he's a mid player. I've watched him a lot. I would have took him at City. To be honest with you, I think he's a top player. 50 million's mint. I watched him last night because I was watching Real Sociedad versus Villarreal. Again, mint performance. If you go to my Twitter, I uploaded a clip of I don't know if he meant it, but basically the ball's in his own penalty area. The ball's coming out the sky. He's facing his own goal, like 5 yards away. There's a guy pressing him. And instead of just kicking out for a corner like a normal guy, he flicks the ball with his foot over the guy, like under mad pressure, and then just carries the ball out. Like it's actually legit unreal. Now, I don't know if he meant to do that. I don't know if he knew the guy was there, but like it'd be pretty weird if he didn't. Yeah, I think it's a great signing. To be honest with you, Matt, I have question marks. A bit like Potsy over. Well, I know why they're signing him because obviously Jorginho's probably going to leave, Partey's going to leave, right? So they need a midfielder. But where does this leave Declan Rice? I think that's a great question from Potsy, and I think it's a valid question about what system is he going to play. Will Rice be the guy who's expected to go forward and create and chip in with a few goals? Don't think that's really his game. I really think that Zubimendi's, from what I've seen, because I've watched quite a lot of him, I really think he's better off playing deep and sort of like be the deep lying playmaker, the deep lying sort of like he runs the game sort of thing and tight and knits it all together rather than the guy who really pushes forward and sort of like gets G&A and all that kind of shit. Does this mean that funds are available for other players? Because Arsenal need a left winger. They've got to upgrade that left wing. Martinelli's not it, yeah? They need a striker. They need someone to put the ball in the back of the net. Havertz is not it. They need proper Saka cover. Sterling's not it, and he's only on loan. Yeah, they probably need a centre-back, like proper centre-back. So I have some questions about the other signings because, you know, Arsenal, are they going to spend the money on what they need? But there's no doubt about it, man. This is a great signing for Arsenal. Fair play to them for getting across the line. But they need a lot more. They do need a lot more.
We do need a lot more. But what I will say is this is the type of signing, if it does go through, that would... It's not one that I look at and go, huh? What we want him for? He's rubbish. Whereas you can kind of have question marks over Sterling. You could have question marks over Marino either. Some would say you could have question marks over Calafiori. You could have definite question marks over Neto. So when I look at it right now, I think, yeah, this is not one that I think many fans will be like, don't know what we're getting him for. We've got Partey and Jorginho. What the hell do we need him for? Well, it makes sense because Partey and Jorginho ain't going to be here forever and they're going to come in. What I will say, lastly, boys, I don't know if anyone spoke about this. Could he do what he's done to Liverpool with Arsenal? Could someone else come in? Could Real Madrid come in?
I think for me, I think obviously Liverpool, that boat sailed. You know what I mean? And you knew he regretted it because in September you've seen reports coming out that he regretted not joining Liverpool. And by the way, I actually called him out. And said, like, why the hell are you rejecting Liverpool? That is ridiculous. But then, like, City have been rumoured with him, but there's been no proper links, like, by any of our proper sources. But like, I wanted him at City. So I think the only other thing for him was, like, probably one of the giants of Spain, Atletico Madrid, Real Madrid, or Barcelona, or someone else has to come in for him. And listen, Arsenal need a midfielder because Jorginho and Partey are leaving. So I think it's a good sign. Like I said, really good sign. They've got to buy more players. They've got. This is where now, right, Arsenal are under mad pressure now. Yeah, everyone's calling this phase thing out. Yeah, everyone's saying nah. Yeah, this is what 5 years without a trophy. This is the worst FA Cup run Arsenal have ever been on. Yeah, fourth round, third round, whatever it is. Yeah, they have to get this next transfer right. They have to be aggressive. They've got to go out there. Yeah, they've got to go out there and go and buy Rafa Leao from AC Milan. Yeah, go and get Osimhen or Gyökeres. Go and get a proper mint right winger. Yeah, go and strengthen. Go in there and spend 200 million quid. Oh, but we can't spend 200. Of course, you can spend 200 million quid, man. Yep. Yeah, go and do it and show everyone that you mean business.
I agree.
Do you know what I find interesting about it? I'm going to get to that bit in a moment. I want to go back to what you said about Declan Rice. And yeah, I'm intrigued to see what Arsenal do. When you look, though, a thing I always focus on when it comes to players is I like looking at their heat maps. Where do they touch the ball? And when you look at Zubimendi, he isn't just someone who sits deep. You can clearly see, but the direction of the arrow, he spends almost as much time in the opponent's half as he does his own, as an example. And what I think Arsenal could look to do, I still think another midfield player maybe needed, somebody who's a bit more attack-minded, like Odegaard is as well. But I think what you get is very good amount of fluidity in terms of there can be times where Zubimendi's pushing further forward. There can be times where Declan Rice is doing it. And I think they can complement each other well in that way. And I think that you're not just buying someone whose only job he's good at is kind of sitting deep, winning the ball, and then giving it to the more talented players. A little bit like Moreno. And I was defending him earlier because I think he's a good player at what he does. He just doesn't do the things that Arsenal fans want him to. Zubimendi's got the ability, the eye for a pass, well, so far in La Liga, and this is going to be an interesting one for haters of the Premier League, because normally when our clubs are linked to players in Portugal or Germany, they say, but that's an inferior league. A lot of them say that La Liga is a superior league. So if he's doing it in La Liga, by definition, on your logic, he should better do it in the Premier League. I think there's a lot of things that he could do here for Arsenal. But so I don't really worry. Again, I'm not worried in either way, but I don't think it will matter to Rice. I feel that you could actually play a double pivot of the two of them. They're very different midfield players in terms of how they operate on the ball. And I think they could complement each other well. But you were certainly right, LB. More has got to be done by Arsenal. Before we get to that, though, because I want to delve into a bit more detail on that. There's a few people. Zubimendi has come out and released a statement. And he has said, and I'll quote him, that Zubimendi has said, this is according to Sport. Don't you find it funny, though, how if you quote Sport, if you would have used Sport as a source from Spain to say, oh, look, Arsenal were going to get a player, United are going to get a player, everybody says, oh, it's false, it's bullshit, it's bogus. But because it's to debunk Arsenal's positive news, everyone's saying you should listen. But according to Sport, Zubimendi has said that he is tired of the consistent English rumours and he's completely focused on Real Sociedad. One source said Zubimendi is not committed to anyone. I'm just going to say this now. I don't think Ben Jacobs, Sammy McBell, Fabrizio, Ornstein would have gone in as far as they have done today unless this situation was very, very close to being done. 1 second. What's that?
Can I have a blanket, please?
You want one of my blankets? Yeah. You got dirt on your face. You got to go clean it.
I know.
There you go, gorgeous.
I would agree with that. Just
Yeah.
quickly. I do think that those sort of names, if it was like a few reports from Spain, I'd be like, meh. But David Ornstein, Fabrizio Romano, Sammy Mokbel, I'm kind of thinking, yeah, they're the sort of people you want reporting on these stories. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I hear it, man. I hear
No,
it.
I agree. And he's also going to, sorry, I just want to finish what I was going to say. Sorry, LB.
Right.
He's also going to say that at this point. The one thing I do think is true is that there is an element of PR here from Arsenal.
Oh, yeah, 100%. All clubs do it, by the way.
Yeah, exactly. They've got it done. They know the mood and the atmosphere is low. And there's a lot of talk, which we'll get onto, about an attacker coming in. And Ornstein has sort of pushed out the don't be surprised if something happens. But I almost think that Arsenal will come out and said, look, we're going to have to release something really positive to start getting fans excited again. Of course, Zubimendi, that's still got 4 months of the season left at Real Sociedad, is going to say, I'm completely focused on Real Sociedad. But I just trust the volume of news that's come out today, that it's anywhere between 90 to 95% true. So yeah, I wouldn't worry about what
the PR that the clubs do is hilarious, and all clubs do it. My club does it, Madrid does it. Like, soon as you go through a bad patch, Bombazzo club linked with this player, and then all the fans all of a sudden just stop talking about all the negative stuff, and it's like, oh, we're getting a player. Like, it's 101, man. It's insane, you know, the way these clubs operate, man. They are like PR machines. But listen, like I say, I think it's a good signing. They need more. Arsenal fans need to keep up the pressure on the club, yeah, because this is it now. Yeah, the pressure's on Arsenal to win something. You can't keep on not winning anything and just be happy clappers, innit? You've got to keep pressing the club. Yeah, Zubimendi in. Go and get a left winger, proper one. Go and get a striker, proper one. Go and get proper cover for Saka. Yeah, and then, you know, I think you need another creative midfield player as well, because I don't think Odegaard's enough. You know what I mean? So you need to spend a lot of money. I still think Arsenal need to spend about 250 million quid.
I hear you. And this is a good